Terms related to reflection of light. As you can see, this is a plane mirror. A light ray hits and reflects. So in this situation, we will define some terms which will help us understand more easily about light. I'm defining the very first term, which is very easy and you already must be knowing it. The first term which I'm defining is incident ray. Incident ray. Can you guess the meaning by the name itself? What do you think? This light ray which hits the mirror is called incident ray. This is called incident ray. Very simple. So how can we define incident ray? A ray of light falling on mirror surface. Simple. Second term which we are going to define here is called reflected light. Reflected ray. Reflected ray. What is reflected ray? You must be getting it. The light ray which gets reflected from this mirror is called reflected ray. Reflected ray. So how can we define a reflected ray? A ray of light sent back by mirror. Okay. So from mirror, the ray which is coming back is called reflected ray. Third point which we will define here is called point of incidence. This is also a very simple point. What is point of incidence? This point, this, where incident ray falls and reflected ray starts, is known as point of incidence. This is point of incidence. So a point of incidence can be defined as a point on mirror, where incident ray falls. Incident ray falls. Okay. Next term which we will define is called normal. It's called normal. Now what is normal? I'll tell you. I'm drawing this line, you just see. This dotted line is called normal. Its property is that it meets the mirror at point of incidence, and with the mirror makes an angle of 90 degrees. 90 degrees angle. So what will be normal? How you will define? Normal is a line perpendicular to the mirror, drawn at point of incidence. Okay. This is point of incidence and this is perpendicular to the mirror. Okay. There are few more terms. Let's have a look. The next term is called angle of incidence. Angle of incidence. Now what is angle of incidence? See, it's very simple. This is an incident ray and this one is normal. The angle which is made between them, this angle is called the angle of incidence. And generally it is denoted by this symbol I. I stands for incidence and this is known as angle of incidence. So how do we define angle of incidence? Angle between incident ray and normal, right? Next term you must have already understood is the last term, which is called angle of reflection. Angle of reflection. What is angle of reflection? It's very clear. This angle between reflected ray and normal is called angle of reflection. So what we can write? Angle between reflected ray and normal.